spent more than 20 years working at Marvel as I have, my passion for comics, well, it's pretty clear. But it's far from my only love. My beloved Mets, the Beatles and rock and roll, classic movies, I can go on. And all those passions, I hope have made me a better storyteller and helped me find my voice. And finding that unique voice, it's incredibly hard. But when it happens, well, the results speak for themselves. I'm Joe Quesada. I tell stories for a living. Welcome to Marvel's Storyboards. Today I'm in Astoria, Queens, hanging out with the star of stage and screen,
Christian, how are you?
Christian Borles, in a place where I know we're both going to completely geek out. You may know Christian from his Tony Award-winning runs in the hit Broadway shows Something Rotten and Peter and the Starcatcher, or the critically acclaimed TV musical drama Smash. But before we talk about that, there's something else we gotta cover.
You are a hardcore comic book nerd, like in every Wednesday in the comic shop. No BS, this is what you do.
That's right.
What's your shop?
Midtown Comics.
Midtown Comics,
48th
right.
and 7th.
Awesome. Tell me about that moment where you saw the light. You saw the light that so many of us have seen.
The year was 1986. G.I. Joe number 21, the silent issue. It literally, like, as I opened it up, that moment happened where, like, the heavens opened and the light came down, and I saw what storytelling could be in that sequential art kind of way. And I got the drawing bug. Every day I started drawing. I sat at a drafting table and I would just sit and put on show tunes. I combined my two loves and I practiced. And when I was a senior, I was probably about as good of an artist as I was an actor, which is to say not very good, but certainly had passion. And there is a path that I think if I had gone to school for it, I would have ended up drawing comics.
Wow. Let's look around a little bit. Star Wars.
Yes.
Yeah. Tell me of your love for Star Wars.
It was the first movie I ever saw.
First movie you ever saw?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes, and it obviously burned in my brain.
Yeah.
And I revisit it often, and I just contend that it is a perfect movie in terms of storytelling. Well, hello, my friend. It's the resin mold. Wow. See, and without the soul behind the eyes, it's just a bunch of yak fur. Literally, had it, remember getting it, remember opening it, had it. The most notable thing that I'd like to point out to you is the suggestive tape dispenser. Look at that bizarre thing. Stop motion animation.
Look at this.
Have you ever dabbled?
In stop motion? No.
It tells a story. It's a crab creature who's moving, and then a car hits it. It's a tale as old as time.
Look, you've worked on TV and film and on stage. The two Tonys you won, right? Were for?
Peter and the Starcatcher and Something Rotten.
My favorite role of yours, the eBay guy. You wouldn't sing a bit of that song for me.
That's all.
When you can't seem to find a baseball that's been signed, that's on eBay.
If I get an opportunity to talk to students about this business and about being in it for the long term, no matter what you're doing, you never know who's going to see you. It's how you do that thing that people remember. A lot of people remember that commercial.
And you played a troll once.
I played a bridge troll.
We were wondering if maybe you'd like to come with us to the Grove for our picnic.
Me?
Full makeup. If I have to send somebody a picture of me, I still send that.
I know that comics have meant a lot to you, as they have to me and so many other people. And Stan Lee was such a part of all our lives. Do you have any memories of reading his work?
Obviously, like, what he created has just changed my life forever. On top of creating everything that he did, he had that spirit and that soul, and he wanted everyone to feel included. And it comes out in what he created. Do you remember the first time you met him?
First time I actually had a long conversation with him was when I started Marvel Knights in 1998. I just cold called him and asked him for advice. And he's like, hey, Joey, how are you? So facetiously, I asked him, Stan, what's the formula for making a Marvel character? He's like, I'm gonna tell you, Joey. And I'm sitting there going, I'm literally holding the phone going, holy he has a formula. It's not about Iron Man or Spider-Man. It's about Peter Parker, Tony Stark. You have to tell a great Peter Parker story. Because if not, it's just a red and blue suit.
That's right. Now, this is a video flipbook, Joe. It's the simplest way of making a sequence. Well, let's do it. I'll tell you, it's more magical than I expected.
We're going into the theater.
My home.
I know.
I should have warmed up.
Is it the same thrill every time you come on stage?
Even now, stepping out on the stage, I get sweaty palms. It's a very specific, I don't know if it's like a sense memory thing.
Yeah.
But like with a long-running show, after like 6 months, finally I relax and I
Right.
don't get nervous, and then you can just kind of operate from a different place. But it's this thrill every single time.
Yeah. So one of the reasons I brought you out here is because secretly in the back of my mind, I know I can act. I know I can do this. You know,
Those are bold words.
I just didn't put myself out there. It wasn't my passion. But now, after talking to you for a while, I want to give it a shot.
As long as you don't mind me being brutally
I
honest.
only want brutal honesty. But you've written something for Marvel, right?
It's about teenage Thor
Right.
and Loki. High schools always do the same one act. What if we came up with one acts using Marvel characters that they could license to high schools, and they could do at all these one act festivals? I picture these students getting excited to play young Thor and young Loki.
I have chosen a scene here.
Oh man, this is very exciting.
So who would you like me to play?
I'll put on my director's cap. You seem like more of a Thor than a Loki to me.
Okay.
How do you feel about Thor?
Yes, of course. Handsome, buffed,
Yeah.
cut.
Lights up. Thor, now 18. So just kind of, you can...
Yeah.
Loki, now 17, are trapped, mashed against each other in a claustrophobic rock crevice, covered in dirt and dust. For a moment, it's hard to tell whether or not they've been crushed to death. Then,
What was that?
cave in.
Yes, but what triggered it?
Gods only know.
Can you move?
Not an inch. You? Thor strains mightily. Nothing.
I'm wedged. I can't get any leverage. Damn.
Okay, now I'm gonna stop you.
Okay.
Be Thor. Be like, play it big.
Right.
You know, fill up the space, but we are crammed together.
We're cramped together,
And I
right?
think we're mashed back to back, and you start.
What was that?
Cave in.
Yes, but you. Sorry.
Okay.
Sorry. Line.
We start with relaxation. We start with just kind of like, there's no right and there's no wrong, but get it right.
Okay.
Okay. This does seem like the perfect time to call your precious hammer. How do you do it? Just whistle a magic little tune or something?
Don't you think I already thought of that? I've been clenching this whole time. Now, I have a question about this line.
Yes.
What's he clenching?
He's just clenching everything.
Okay.
Do you
all
know
right.
what I mean?
Yeah, because I took him in with a cave and he's like, ugh. We must be buried too deep for it to feel my summons. Got any brighter ideas?
Help! Help!
That's it?
Got a better idea?
We're down here!
Help! And scene. Really, really good.
Are you sure?
Well, it takes time. It's rehearsal. It's not like it's gonna happen spontaneously.
Okay. Tell me your origin story, your superhero origin story. I guess we all have a superpower, right? No matter who you are, there's that superpower. You found yours.
Looking back on it, I used extroversion as a deflector shield against mockery, bullying, anything like that. And so I had a skill very early of playing a part of someone who was unafraid of anything that would come at me that would hurt. I remember in high school, I remember some guy was bullying me against the locker, and he kind of slammed me up against the lockers, and I said, "Bub, you just signed your own death warrant."
Wow.
Which I got from Wolverine. And that made him laugh.
Right.
And so I think there was a piece of making people laugh even in the most extreme situations that led to that hunger and ease of being in front of people. And my father, who was a doctor, never once wanted me to go down the road of medicine. He saw me going down the road of the arts, and he was incredibly supportive. And you said you were supported too.
Yeah, my grandfather, he was from a different generation, so it's like, you need to be a doctor, you need to be a lawyer or an accountant. And my dad was like, no, you don't want to do that. You could do what you want. Even back then, I was very appreciative of that.
It's also nice that times have changed. In 1986 or whenever, I think that comics were a little more the nerd domain and kind of looked down on. Now we understand the power of comics, and there's so much entertainment around comics that you kind of can't deny the power and strength of it.
I get paid to do what I used to get yelled in school for doing, looking out a window, daydreaming, and doodling in my notebook. Christian, I'm gonna put you on the spot here. I'm gonna put you on the spot.
All right.
So you used to like to draw, or you draw. You want to be a comic book artist.
Yes.
Right? Okay. Let me ask you to sketch me.
Okay.
Right?
This isn't doing your handsomeness justice. Well, get ready for the first day of the rest of your life.
Holy mackerel, that's awesome.
No, it's not,
Look
but
at
you're
that.
sweet.
Wow. Christian, thank you. Thank you so much for giving me so much of your time, giving me so much for yourself. But give me back my pencils.
Yes, I'm so sorry. I was hoping to get that past you.
The paper, you can keep the marble paper.
Cool. Thank you.
When you spend a day with Christian, it's impossible not to be charmed. It's also impossible not to be impressed. When you see Christian tell a story, whether it's on the stage or on the page, you can't deny that it's his, and that's because he's one of a kind.